Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Tanner. All right. Like you said, my name's Jennifer Williams. I've been with the Department of Revenue for about 6 years now, and I have loved every minute of it. I am going to be discussing the withholding information with you today, along with a little bit on e-services. I do apologize, I'm not a pro with e-services, but I will definitely give you some contacts if you have any questions. All right. Oh, sorry. So withholding and e-services. Withholding is responsible for monitoring any businesses who have employees who issue W-2s with or without withholding, and to help with any of those withholding type questions due to the fact that we are a income tax state. The e-services division will help you with a lot of your questions concerning TAP. They're the ones that help monitor TAP and do a lot of the setup for TAP every year. They can help you with making sure that you are able to make necessary payments, that your files for W-2s and 1099s are coming in correctly, anything of that nature. Montana wage withholding. So any employer who has employees who they issue wages and withholding to are responsible for having a withholding account. We do not have a de minimis threshold in the state of Montana. What that means is that you could be a construction company who works in Montana for a single day, but your company is based out of Washington. You are responsible for having a withholding account and paying wages and withholding to the state of Montana for that time that you're working in Montana, regardless of whether or not your state is an income tax state. We get a lot of that, especially with contract or construction companies that travel, in and out of different states to do work a lot of times. Residents working in other states, we, like I said, because we are an income tax state, if there is a resident of Montana who goes to a state that does not have income tax, like Washington, and works in Washington, you would not have to withhold for the time that they're working in Washington because the work is being done in Washington. Now, if that were to be the opposite direction and you are a Washington company and you have employees that come into the state of Montana and work, you are required to withhold on any wages earned in the state during that time frame. We get this question a lot. This comes up a lot. And we will tell a lot of businesses that we are going to defer to the state that the work is being done in. We'll help you to the best that we can, but we can't speak on behalf of other states. So we will guide you as far as our guidelines and then ask you to refer to the other states' Department of Revenue. Registration. Anybody who issues wages in the state of Montana is required to have a withholding account. There's numerous ways in which you can register for a withholding account. I recommend going through TAP whenever possible because it's the fastest. We do have a paper form that we can send to you and you can fill out and submit back to us. But again, if you're looking to get it done quickly, I would recommend doing it electronically. Even if you have a business such as like mining companies and stuff that will issue 1099s with withholding, those individuals will have to have a withholding account as well. To cease an account, ceasing an account is very easy. It's we've changed the process a little bit to make it as easy as we can for our businesses. A simple email, phone call, hey, I need to close this account down. We no longer have employees. I'm more than happy to do that. In a situation like we had this year with COVID, where a lot of businesses did have to close their doors for a short period of time, we would, if they wanted, we could close the account until they needed it open again. Or the other option was, because we no longer require $0 payments, you can remain open and only make payments when you have those employees back in your building. What I would recommend in that situation is, when you complete your Mw3, you just put in zeros in those months, because you didn't have anybody working in those months. Oops, sorry, I got a little happy with my my cursor there. After you register, you will receive a letter from the state of Montana. In that letter, we will let you know that you are registered, what your account number is. It will be a 13-digit number, with the last 3 digits being alpha digits, the WTH. All new accounts that are opened as monthly. You may not stay monthly, but for that first year, you are considered monthly. And what that means is that your withholding is due to us by the 15th of the following month. So any withholding earned in January would be due by the 15th of February, and so on. There is an exception, and that is the ag accounts. Agricultural accounts, we'll discuss a little bit more here in a little bit, but they are considered not required. So there is a little difference with the agriculture accounts. Beginning in January of 19, we created our own Mw4. We did that to replace the W4 for us. The W4 is still valid for federal purposes, but the Mw4 now is more suitable to the state. And the reason we did that was due to the allowance issue that was changed with federal guidelines, where we still accept those allowances. We ask that if you have an employee who is trying to use 11 or more allowances, that you send that Mw4 to us for review. We like to review those, and we'll get back to you. Usually they're pretty quick about it. If it takes more than a week, there's probably something going on. Usually they're back to you within a couple days. They'll let you know, let's say they wanted to claim 99, we'll come back and say, okay, we'll let you have 9. And we have a process where we review a lot of different areas before we make that decision. And even if somebody's going to up their Mw4 just for bonus purposes, if you have anybody who is changing those allowances, we ask that you submit that so we can review it. This is, at one time it was a non-login process on TAP. That's no longer the case. You're now required to have a login to do it online. And it'll be the same TAP login that you have for your accounts currently. So you'll just be able to go in there and complete the Mw4 online that way. We ask that any new employees that come on does complete a Mw4 along with the W4. We will do audits on these, spot audits on these, so I would recommend that you make sure that that's done. Old employees, prior to 19, we're not gonna penalize or anything if those individuals don't have an Mw4, but if they at any time make any changes, I would recommend that you have them complete that. Here's a look of our Mw4. Many of you may have already seen this. The top portion will talk to their allowances on how much they would like withheld. You notice on line G, if they want, or excuse me, line H, if they want more withheld, they can sure do that. I personally do withhold more on a dollar amount higher on both of my Mw4 and W4 just for my own purposes, but so if they would want to do that in this instance, they can put that number on line H. For section 2, this is going to pertain to any exemptions. We currently have 4 areas where people can become exempt. Tribal, of course, a member of the Reserve or National Guard, North Dakota, a resident of North Dakota that's working in Montana. And I'll explain that a little bit more. That's due to an agreement we have with them. And then the other one ties into military spouses.
Jennifer?
Yep.
Can I throw a couple questions out since it's tied to some of the W-4s, W-9s, and W-2s?
Perfect.
Will that
Yep.
work? Okay.
Yep.
We have one question that came in. It says, can you talk about the proper way to fill out a W-9 if you have a disregarded entry, one member LLC? I work with a lot of small companies that fill it out with their EIN, and I believe it should be under their individual name and social with their entity in the DBA, doing business as line. I get a lot of pushback on this, so I wanted to verify.
Okay, so I think I might got a little lost in there. They're talking about an MW4, or they're talking about an I-9? Because I think you said W-9, and I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, the proper way to fill out the W-9.
Yeah, because that form I'm not familiar with. The MW4 should be based on the individual's information, not the business information.
Okay.
I will provide my email at the end of this. And I would just ask that individual maybe reach out to me personally, because I think I might be getting confused on what they're asking. And so I want to clarify before I
Oh yeah,
answer.
that's perfect. I think that'd be great to be able to follow back up with them. So Wendy, if you hear this or see that, just please email her at the end once she puts that up. Another question is, when the W-9 then translates to the W-T, so maybe more appropriate to discuss how it should be filed in that way. And that might be a follow-up, because that's Wendy, that's the same. So we'll just have that as more of a one-on-one for you.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Oh, for all of you, 1099. Okay, and then we had one, I don't know if it's a question, but MW/4 in addition to 4 that, I'm reading that wrong. MW-4 in addition to W-4. And I think that was something that you were talking about just now.
Yeah, so the W-4 is the federal form, and the MW-4 is the state form. And the reason, like I said, we had to do that was because the IRS went away from the exemptions, and we still have exemptions. And so to make sure that people could claim those exemptions as they needed to and those allowances, we had to create an MW-4 that pertains more to the state of Montana. So that's why we request that they have both.
Great, thanks. And this one, last one, can an employee's claim exempt on their MW-4? If so, how would they do that? And then we'll let you get back.
Yep. So in that bottom section of the MW-4 there, section 2, that's where they will claim their exemptions. But I don't believe they can be totally exempt. If you do have an employee who is requesting to be exempt, I would just have, and like their reasoning isn't one of the 4 we have listed there, I would just recommend that you send that in and we'll review that. Chances are they wouldn't qualify for that exemption, but we would review those on an individual basis.
Great, thanks.
That answers that question.
And that, we got a couple coming in. Do you want to get back to your presentation, or do you want me to just finish them?
If they tie to the MW-4, I can answer them now, but if they're tied to something else, okay, go ahead.
There is no section for married or single option. In my accounting software, there is a section for that. Are there different in Montana tax brackets for either married or single?
There is not.
Okay.
So no, so whatever they do for their IRS one, just go ahead and follow that through with the state, because we don't have the differences there.
And then going back, only use MW-4 if they are going over 10, or always use MW-4?
No, you would want them to complete the MW-4 every time, or with any new hire, like you have them complete the W-3. The only time we need to see a copy of that MW4 is if their exemptions are 11 or more. If they're 10 or less, we don't have to review those. We're just asking to review any that are over the 11. I'm just recommending that you keep a copy of that MW4 along with the W3 on file, or W4 on file, so that if we do come in and do like a spot check or an audit or something on your business, you have that paperwork available for review.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, we do occasionally do spot audits on MW4s and W4s depending on some filings that we see with the withholding. An example of that is somebody has like really high wages and very low withholding. That's kind of a red flag to us to kind of go in and take a look at what might be going on. So that's why I'm just recommending you keep those on file.
Great. All right, we'll let you get back. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
Jennifer.
Thank you. So there are different types of compensation. Wages, salaries, fees, bonuses, commissions are pretty common. You know, vacation allowances, retroactive pay, that you see that sometimes, but they're not quite as common. Early retirement payoffs, we do run into that a little bit. And payment in kind. I don't see a lot of payment in kind, but you cannot be withheld on payment in kind. An example of a payment in kind would be you have a high school kid who works on a ranch, but instead of wages, he gets a truck. So then the value of that truck would be considered his wages, and that's what you would report to us for his compensation. Compensation not subject to withholding. Common ones are tip income. Tip income is very common for us. We get this question a lot because the IRS does withhold on tip income. State of Montana does not. If you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to us, because I know some software doesn't split that difference. We'll just withhold on it for the state and for federal because it's tip income. Nice thing with that is individuals will get that money back on the other side when they file their IIT return. So they do get those monies back. Benefit plans, meals and lodging, no additional cost benefit. That would be something like working at like a golf course, and you get to use the golf course on your days off, that sort of thing. Another one we see quite frequently that's not on here has to do with churches. Pastors are not required to withhold on their wages. They're another one that is not subject. Calculating the withholding, for us, it's pretty simple. We have a state tax withholding guide out on the DOR website. We update that annually. And within there is our tables, our tax tables. Those tables haven't changed since 2005. There's not going to be any changes in 2021. We do anticipate possibly having some changes for 2022, depending on the new legislation and the governor and stuff that comes in January. But again, we won't know any of that until legislation's done at the end of this year, or excuse me, in 2021. And if that by any chance does happen, you will be notified. We'll probably do a mass mailing is probably my guess, or it'll be out on our website. Again, that hasn't changed since 2005. So if you've got those tables from back then, you're still using the correct tables. We generally get phone calls on this time of year every year, because people just want to make sure that they're up to date with those tables. But again, we're not changing anything. The calculation on those tables is based on your pay frequency, your amount of wages, and the number of allowances. The supplemental rate is at 6%, should that come into play. Our payment schedules, we have 3 payment schedules. You're either annual, monthly, or accelerated. Again, if you're a new account holder, you will be monthly for the first year. If you're annual, your payment is due by the 31st of January, excuse me, along with your MW3 and W2s. If you're monthly, you're due by the 15th of the month, the following month. And if you're accelerated, yours is based on your federal tax deposits. If you are accelerated and you pay on a monthly basis, that is okay. You won't accrue any penalties or interest if you don't pay on the schedules the same as the federal tax deposits. We just ask that you try to do that as close as possible if you can, just because we figure it's probably easier for you if you're paying both at the same time. Not required. If you are considered not required, you are generally an ag account or a household employee. Household employees are not required. You're not required to withhold on household employees. You can always withhold if you choose to, or if you have an agreement with your employee, but you don't have to by our standards. You'll know if you're an ag account. We'll let you know that right away when you receive that welcome letter. It'll tell you you're not required. One thing we need you to understand, we run into this quite a bit. Being not required does not mean that you don't have to report. If you issue any kind of wages within a current year, or excuse me, a tax year, you need to report those wages, even if there's no withholding. The only thing the not required speaks to is not having to withhold. You can, I have quite a few companies that still do withhold just as a benefit to their employees, but they don't have to do that. It's not a requirement. The look back period, this will come into play after you have been an account holder for over a year. What we do is we run a report that runs from July 1 of a previous year to June 30th of the current year. What we're looking at is the amount of withholding you're paying within that time frame. If your withholding is $0 to $1,199, you will stay as annual. If your withholding amount that you pay to us in that time frame is $1,200 to $11,999, you will stay as a monthly account holder. If it's $12,000 or greater, you're going to go to accelerated. And every October, you'll get a letter in the mail that lets you know. If you don't receive a letter, you didn't change. We only mail out letters to individual accounts that change. The other thing to take into consideration with the look back period is it will only look at your withholding payments. If you submit a payment as a bill payment, it doesn't take those into consideration. So you could be right at that cusp of an accelerated filer, but made a couple payments as your bill payments because you were late or whatever the scenario may be. It's not going to count those, so it may move you to monthly. We do work with our taxpayers. If you call and say, you know, I've been annual for years, I jumped up by like $3, can I stay as annual? We'll do that. We don't have any problem doing that. We want to make it as easy on you as possible. We're not going to be, you know, strict and you are at $1,201, you need to be, you know, monthly. We're not going to do that. We want to work with you guys as best we can. So if you do receive that look back letter in the mail, please give us a call if you need to stay as you were, and we'll talk that out with you. Your MW3, it's your annual return that's due every year, 12/31 of that following tax year. So like this year's will be due 12/31 of 2021. You need to report any wages and withholding on that form. If you have 1099s that do not have withholding, you do not have to file those, and you do not have to submit those with an MW3. You sure can. If you want to send them in to us, we will take them and process them. And you'll just want to submit those with a 1096. I do know that there's a new form coming out for the 2020 tax year, the 1099 NEC, which does go in place. Well, kind of stems from the 1099 miscellaneous. You'll no longer report non-employee compensation on the 1099 miss. We are accepting those. We are following the federal guidelines as far as the format in which those need to be submitted. You won't be able to submit those through TAP because they do not have withholding unless you did withhold. 1099s in TAP, unless they're in a file, like if you do a single entry of 1099s on TAP, they have to have withholding. Otherwise, TAP won't accept them. That could have possibly changed, but I have not heard. So I always recommend give it a shot. If it works, great. If it doesn't, let us know. Because we are switching to V12 January 1. So you will see a new looking TAP. Will look different. I have a couple screenshots at the end that I'm going to show you. And our system ourselves that we see is going to look a little different as well. But from what I've told and been told, they made the changes based on responses they got from surveys from our taxpayers, and it will be very taxpayer friendly. So I'm very excited about that. I hope the rest of you are as well. Here's a look at our Mw3 form. Many of you are probably familiar with this. You can submit this paper, electronic. Your payroll company will file it electronically. We get a lot from QuickBooks, a lot from ADP and other accounting firms. But the paper form, if you should need it, is on the DOR website. We do no longer mail these forms out at the end of the year. We used to do that every year, and we haven't done that in a couple of years now. So just a reminder there. Does anybody have any withholding questions before I jump into some e-services stuff?
There is no questions at this time.
Okay, perfect. I'll keep rolling then. So e-services. E-services is responsible, like I said, for all of our electronic platforms. They'll work with you if you have any issues with your password with TAP, if you have any issues making payments, filing any of your, working with your payroll software companies. They're very knowledgeable staff, and they're very friendly staff. So if you do have any questions, I encourage you to reach out to them. They will walk you through any questions that you have. We do push TAP. You'll hear me talk about TAP a lot if you call. And the reason for that is we're able to provide you better customer service if you use TAP. The reason behind that is, you make a payment or you're having issues filing your return, things of that nature. We're able to help you more because it's the platform that we created and work with. We're more than happy to work with payroll companies as well to help them get their stuff filed. But like I said, we encourage TAP just because it is free. And like if you have issues with payments or you need to stop payments or that sort of thing, or doubled up on payments, we can help a lot smoother with TAP than we can other platforms. So this is the way TAP looks now. Like I said, I'll show you what it looks like. A couple screenshots that I have from what they're currently working on. I do want to point out that this under the businesses is where you can go to register for a new tax account. Like I said, if you are trying to get that done rather quickly, I would suggest you file it this way because it happens a lot faster than by paper. There is a question on here where they ask for your SOS, your Secretary of State ID. You can file without it. So I know that's one thing that sometimes people get caught up on, but it is not required. Where the arrow is pointing to now, that's where you can set up your online access. So you do need a letter ID in order to do this. So what I would recommend is that you wait till you get that letter in the mail that says, hey, you are registered. And then you can walk through the process to get your account, your access set up through TAP. If you are needing that a little sooner and you don't want to wait for the mail or you can't wait for the mail, whatever the situation is, I have had people call we'll give you that letter ID right over the phone. We see that letter as soon as it's created, so we don't have to, so we would be able to provide you information to help you get online sooner if you need that, and we're more than happy to do that for you. I've done it a few times. TAP account. So guidelines for our TAP account, it's going to be registered based on that 13-digit number. You'll need your FEIN, your zip code, and again, a letter from the Department of Revenue. And then you'll receive an authentication code that'll walk you through that process. Again, if you have any issues, I would encourage you to reach out to our e-services, and I'll give you their contact information here at the end. Very knowledgeable guys. I hear they're a little bit harder to get a hold of right now. I think that's just due to us trying to get ready for the new V12, but they will get back to you if you leave a message. We have the two-factor authentication for TAP security, which can help with keeping all your information secure as well. Again, you can file your MW4s on TAP. Just remember, you have to have a login to do that. It's no longer outside of the login process. And this just kind of shows you where, once you get into your account, where you would go to file that MW4. Again, this is going to look a little bit different in January. Nice thing with TAP is the third-party access, which is very handy for accounting firms so that they can file on behalf of their clients. Again, you can do payments in TAP. You can do e-check payments, which is free. Credit debit card payments we will accept. However, there is a small processing fee. I am not aware of what that dollar amount is, but I don't think it's a huge dollar amount. Excuse me. There's also ACH payments. Nice thing about making your payments in TAP is once you input your banking information, if you would like, we'll save it. And so every time that you come in, you just need to put in a dollar amount and make your payment, which is kind of handy. You can file 1099s, W-2s, and MW-3s. You can do it as a single entry. Your single entry, of course, is like if you have one or two, and so instead of uploading a file, you just do them manually, really quick and easy. The other option is to upload a file. We can't accept anything in a PDF format into TAP. It usually has to be a text file. But again, if you get a hold of our e-services staff, they'll walk you through what the requirements are as far as to get that file through TAP. Again, this just kind of goes over the file upload formats. A text file, we always follow the Pub 1220. We review that every year and update accordingly from the IRS. W-2s and your MW-3s. We do take your security very, very seriously. Last thing we want is any kind of breach on our taxpayers' information. So here are just some little helpful hints on how to do your part in maintaining that security. So in summary, that's just basically kind of an overview of everything that's available on TAP. Some benefits to filing and paying online. We do have a new function on TAP that allows you to upload documents directly into TAP. You just need a letter ID to do that. That functionality is right on the home screen of TAP, where you can just upload documents, which is kind of handy if you don't want to mail them in. I recommend, if possible, you file electronically. Every year we run a report that shows us what W-2s we didn't receive. And it is amazing how many W-2s we don't get that get mailed in. Where they go once they leave your work, I don't know. But for whatever reason, we always have that issue where we don't get those W-2s when they're coming in through the mail. So in any time, if you can file those electronically, I highly recommend that. It's going to save you penalties. It's going to save you getting love letters from us asking you where those are. I just highly recommend filing electronically whenever possible on that stuff. We also have a tax news you can use that you can sign up for if you're interested. It's just a little newsletter. We haven't had a whole lot go out. We don't usually have a whole lot go out towards the end of the year. It usually picks up in January and kind of through filing season, and then it kind of dies down and then picks up again the next year. But it's kind of some handy information about what's going on with us and what we're doing. We do tend to update our website on a regular basis as well, so you can always find information on there. And then I'm going to leave this up for you guys to jot down some contact information here. The 6900 number, that is our call center. They'll get you to whoever you need to talk to. I recommend, if you don't have a direct contact, you start there, just because with us, with everybody in COVID, we're not always in the office. It's kind of sporadic when we're in the building. And so the call center can shoot us emails and say, hey, you want to give this person a quick call back, that kind of thing. Or they put it into our voicemail. We're always checking our voicemail. But if you want to get a hold of us a little faster, I think email's been working a little bit faster than phone calls. Our email there is mtdorwithholding@mt.gov. That will get you to our withholding mailbox. We'll respond to you within 24 hours. It's always been our goal to make sure that you hear back within 24 hours. For the Department of, or for the e-services unit, excuse me, their contact is doreservices@mt.gov. Again, my name's Jennifer. If you want to reach out to me personally, my email is jennifer.williams@mt.gov. I am more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. And again, like, it'll be 24 hours at the longest before you hear from me, of course, unless it's a weekend, and then it'll be a little bit longer. But if anybody has any more questions, I'm happy to answer questions. If not, I will just hopefully hear from you through email if you have any questions.
Great, thanks so much, Jennifer. We do have one question that came in. What's B-12?
B-12?
Yeah, I don't know if it was on a previous slide.
Yeah, I'm not familiar
I
with
didn't
that.
really see it.
I didn't either.
And that might be something for that individual.
Yeah, maybe reach out, because I'm not sure what that
Oh, they
is.
said they've heard you mention it a couple times.
Because I mean, maybe I distorted, like the MW3, 1099s, W2s, MW3,
Maybe B12.
V12. Oh, I'm sorry. That's probably what they're talking about. V12. That's what this here, these screens. V12 is just a new version of the tax software that we use.
Oh, okay.
And so, like, here, this is what the new home screen is going to look like, with these little, it's supposed to be a lot more like web-based and a little bit more user-friendly that way. We've been doing a lot of testing and it works great. This here will be, once you get into the account, more of what it looks like. We're going to have what's called an accountant center. In that accountant center is where accounting firms would be able to have a whole list of all of their clients, and they can just click right there into each one's, and it'll say like file return or make a payment, and they just click that link and they can just do it all from one screen. They don't have to come in and out and try to find all the different, have the different logins for all their different people. They should be able to access everybody from that account center. That's something new. But the layout is kind of similar to like this. It looks, here's like all the returns. It's supposed to be more web-based and more user-friendly. So yeah, so that might have been what they were talking about. I apologize.
Yeah, well, I think that's exactly what it was. So thank you so much.
Yep.
And then will the W-2s still be allowed for paper submittal at the end of the year? Do you know?
Oh yeah. I don't think they'll do a mandate for requiring W-2s to be filed electronically unless it gets pushed down through governor's office or the legislation. We're very understanding that there's a lot of small mom and pop type places around the state that are really spread out, and filing electronically, it's just not as easy for them as it is for, say, people in Helena or Billings or something. So yeah, I don't foresee us going into a electronic filing mandate for W-2s at any time soon. So yes, do send in paper. I just encourage electronic just because, like I said, once it's dropped in the mail, we can't guarantee where it ends up. So
Cool. Great. Thank you, Jennifer.
yeah,
I think that's it for the questions.
perfect.
We really appreciate you coming on. You got bombarded with a handful of questions. You did a great job. For those ones that we didn't answer, that maybe we didn't understand or needed more information, please reach out to her and she'll be happy to assist and get you the right answer that you're looking for.
Thank you. You guys have a great day. I'm not staying on for the rest. I gotta jump ship, but again, my email's out there if anybody needs anything.
Sounds great. And if something does come up, we'll get you in the email form and address it that way. Thank you so much again. You do a great job, but we appreciate you, Jennifer. Thank you so much. All right. Well, now we're going to switch gears. We're going to go to the job service. We're going to have Terry Knudsen present on the local job service. Usually for the Safety Fest, we're in person. And since we're tied to the Safety Fest, we would be in Bozeman right now. So we have yours truly, Terry Knudsen, out of Bozeman, that's going to be speaking on job service and a little bit about what the local job service could do for you. So again, it's tied to more Bozeman, but job services are statewide. And Terry, you're more than welcome to get your screen up and going if you wanted to share a screen, start at that. I'll do a quick introduction. They are statewide. The job services are statewide. So your community or close community would have one that would be able to help out with a lot of information.
Okay, Tanner, I just need you to allow me to share that screen.
You should be able to click down bottom on that green share screen button.
There we go. Thank you so very much. There we go.
So Terry Knudsen has worked for the state of Montana for the last 28 years.
Wow.
Right?
Made me sound old.
She's 29 years old. She specializes in working with the re-entry population and closely works with local detention centers, probation and parole, pre-release center, the Montana State Prison, as well as the local drug and alcohol treatment centers and homes. Terry established the Jail to Jobs program out of Bozeman that provides employers with qualified applicants. She does a great job working with businesses. She does a great job with working within her community. We're happy to have Terry on today. Without further ado, Terry, I'll turn it over to you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Tanner, so very much for that. And thank you all for joining us. And even though I know that a lot of you may not be from the Gallatin area, the Bozeman area, if you have any questions, you can certainly give us a call and we'd be happy to answer your questions. Job Service Bozeman is part of the state of Montana Workforce Services Divisions. The goal one is to develop and maintain a highly skilled employment-ready workforce that supports and embraces our economic health of the state and the local businesses.
Hey, Terry.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just going to stop real quick. It doesn't look like we're seeing your screen. It might be on the wrong screen.
Okay.
Sorry, I should have double checked that, but I was looking at something else.
Okay. I apologize. I don't know how I can get this to change.
Did you click on share screen? And
I
double
sure
click on
did. Let me scroll out and I apologize about the technical difficulties.
Oh, no worries. If it's not having 60 Casey Killer West show up, then It's always another thing.
Okay. How's that? Still no issue?
Yeah, we're still not seeing. If you're on the Zoom and you go to share screen,
Mm-hmm.
and then it should click up on what screen you want to share. If you have multiple screens or if you have just one screen,
Okay,
it should come
I
up.
see. I have multiple screens and I'm just screening on screen one. Share.
There,
Oh,
we see your Zoom invite.
okay, that's not working either. Again, I work better with individuals who are incarcerated rather than technology. I apologize to you all.
Oh, no worries.
Mm-hmm. How about that?
That looks great.
All right. Thank you so very much. And I apologize to you all about that.
Oh, no worries.
At Job Service Bozeman, our staff is really trained in providing the most current labor market information, providing you, the employer, with accurate information so that you can make hiring decisions and business decisions that are best suited for you. Most recently, with the COVID-19 shutdown, we have been the central point in the area to provide unemployment insurance information and assistance to not only the job seeker, but to employers. And when necessary, if a business is locking down, closing down, we can also assist in what's known as rapid response, which is layoff aversion and layoff assistance. However, for recruitment purposes, Bozeman Job Service is the starting point for employers to post jobs and to recruit employers. With record low unemployment rates, and currently the state of Montana has a 5.3 unemployment rate, and Gallatin County has a 3.7. If you're interested in what your local unemployment rate is, we can certainly give that to you as well. But finding qualified candidates is daunting, and this is where Job Service Bozeman really shines. Our workforce consultants aid employers by offering advice on job posting, networking opportunities, and you're going to hear a lot about the networking opportunities that we do provide, and recruitment ideas. We can also offer skills testing for applicants to assure that your job applicants meet the minimum qualifications for the positions that you're listing. Workforce consultants also meet with job seekers on a daily basis, and we're able to quickly identify what kind of skills and qualifications that they have to offer, and can in cases actually refer them directly to an employer who's seeking their skills immediately. We also hold an annual job fair in the spring with 75 employers. And last time we had one, we had 300 job seekers. Um, Job fairs are an amazing opportunities for employers and job seekers. In addition to saving time, money, and resources by creating that immediate contact between the job seeker and the employer, employers also have the benefit to network with other job seekers, meet our staff face to face, as well as our JSIC committee members. We also offer a lot of job fairs targeting the untapped labor market. Those job fairs include the high school job fairs that we do at our local high schools, the senior job fair, and that is for our mature population, those of us who are over the age of 50, and of course the jail to job programs that we do on a quarterly basis. So those are all areas where you can recruit from. But in this digital age, when most job postings are switching to online platforms, we can assist employers to navigate those online posting boards such as the U.S. Labor Exchange, Indeed, and Facebook. And in cases where the employers are really struggling to catch an eye-catching job listing, we can help you write that job description to really capture the attention of an applicant's attention. We can also suggest new approaches to your job postings that's going to attract more candidates. And also Job Service Bozeman, or this whole entire Bozeman job service system uses what's known as direct employer, and that's the U.S. Labor Exchange. when you post a job on that U.S. labor, it is absolutely free to all employers. And once you post a job, it is shown throughout the state of Montana. Plus, it filters down to 12 other national job boards, giving you full coverage for your jobs. So this is a great way for employers to advertise their positions. Our office also provides meeting rooms and space so local employers can hold their own mini job fair. We also have rooms that they can do interviewing for new candidates or even trainings, and this is all free for the local for employers. Our business outreach that we do is really an essential part of our work. We really do strive to learn the needs of our individual employers and to match the employer with programs such as the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, federal bonding, the Incumbent Worker Program and apprenticeship programs, or even the on-the-job training program. Of course, we also work closely with the schools, so we're ready to help those individuals who are eager to start their careers. We also have a couple other programs that you should know about. It's called the Dislocated Worker Program, and this is to help dislocated workers obtain training or assist in relocation efforts. The program really is for workers who've lost their job due to a company closing. Recently, our Dislocated Worker Program assisted an apprentice in the electrical field with tuition payments and supportive services. He now is a lead electrical installer and a project manager, and his starting wage is $24.75. Plus, he gets benefits. There's also the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, which can help pay for educational needs of participants who may want to acquire in-demand skills, upgrade the skills that they already have. So that's a benefit to employers who have an employee who may want to do this as well. There's also the Workforce Development Grant, which helps people on subsidized programs become independent by helping them to pay for items that they may not be able to afford when they're first starting a new employment. For employers, this grant can actually help pay for reimburse businesses for health insurance, increase wages, training, testing, tools and equipment, or even clothing. And it's a $5,000 per qualified employee. Now, Bozeman Job Service consultants at our office are highly active in networking and outreach within our community partners, and that includes private employers, government, education, and nonprofit sectors. Job service staff members are active in our local Chamber of Commerce and Prospera. We have our Disabled Veteran Outreach Program staff who conducts a monthly veteran service provider meeting, which gathers local and businesses and organizations to explore and address relevant and important information affecting our local veteran population. And veterans really are a priority service for everyone at Job Service. We also are involved with GAVRA, the Gallatin Valley Human Resource Association. Members of GAVRA meet once a month and keep abreast on the most pressing human resource topics. And right now it's COVID-19. We have 2 staff members who've been longtime members, and they are vital resources in our office and to our local employers. We also have the JSEC, the Job Service Employer Council, and which is made up of local businesses who really help identify the challenges, the needs of our community, and really guide job service to meet those challenges. Similarly, we also are involved with the Yellowstone Area System, the community management team. And like JSEC, the difference is they are leaders in government and the nonprofit sector, and they really do help us see the big picture in our communities and address those needs. We are also involved in the Gallatin Greater Homeless Action Community, where Job Service was one of the original organizers of this agency to assist our homeless population to address barriers that overcome homelessness and employment and really start a quality life. We're also involved in interagency in Bozeman and some local community service committees, such as in Livingston and White Sulphur Springs. These community groups really bring together a lot of local service nonprofit organizations to share information and resources. And this really helps us serve those individuals who are facing multiple obstacles to employment. In this area, Bozeman Job Service has really been able to contribute some great labor market information, enhancing those services that those groups provide. Most notably, that we've been working with the Community Resource Committee in White Sulphur Springs, which is now working with the Copper Mine Project near White Sulphur Springs, and also the Gordon Butte Hydroelectric Project, also in Marr County. And those two companies are going to have to hire a couple hundred employers, and that's going to put a strain on local community services, and job services helping with that as well. Again, I've got to mention that we are involved in the local high schools and the Gallatin County Community College, where we can really assist those students explore and identify and prepare for those careers that are going to be in high demand. We can use our labor market information and connect those students with local employers and training opportunities, maybe set up an on-the-job training program as well. Job service, I have to say this, though, we're really fortunate that one of our staff member is a former high school student, and he's been an integral part of this outreach service to the high schools. One of our staff is also part of the state rehabilitation counselor, which really focuses on training individuals for new careers if they cannot return to the ones that they've been in the past. And of course, we work closely with the reentry partners in the Bozeman, Livingston, and throughout the state prison systems as well. I have to mention that these last three outreach efforts dealing with education and youth, the individuals with diversities, and those who have been involved in the criminal justice system, if you have questions about working with this population, for instance, how old do you have to be to operate a chainsaw, or can you tell me more about the Americans with Disability Act, or even what concerns should I have about asking about the felony question on the application? Our staff can really help you navigate those questions and bring up some good answers for you. Now, Joseph's Job Service really does have a finger on the pulse of our surrounding labor market and community. And I know that I've been really fast, and I've just scratched the surface of what Job Service Bozeman and your local job services, if you're not in this area, can do for you. There is one thing that I forgot to mention earlier. If you get a phone call offering to sell you one of our 5-in-1 posters, please know that those are available at Job Service, and you can just stop in, pick one up, and then see what other services that you might be interested in. And I've put the contact information for the local offices on our screen, but if you want, I can get the information for your local job service as well. So do we have any questions?
Great, thanks so much, Terry. And yeah, the biggest thing that we see throughout the state is that a lot of people get emails or, hey, you got to have these posters up, pay us $5-10 and we'll get you a poster sent. And a lot of businesses don't have the time or the knowledge on it because they're doing what they do best with their company. And so they'll pay for them. Those are free. We could get them mailed to you. The local offices could always get them to you. And then, like Terry said, there's so many more services. We did have a question on a grant, and it mentions just can you say what grant that was? But there's so many grants, and to narrow it down to what that individual question was, I would really highly have you reach out to that Bozeman office, or we could reach back out to you and somebody can talk to you, Cheryl, on just more of what is available and what potential needs you may have, because there might be 2 or 3 different things that the job service could help you with.
Okay. Oh, and thank you so very much. I really appreciate this opportunity. And if there's any questions, again, please feel free to call us at Job Service.
Yeah, can you just throw that number out there again one more time, Terry?
Yeah, I sure can.
Or even just your email, and then you could get it to the right person, just so we have it.
And do you have that?
Oh, there it is. Perfect. Yep.
And
Thank
if you want my email, it is teknutson@mt.gov. It looks like TEK Nutson, and if you ever pronounce it K Nutson, I swear 1,000 Vikings are coming to come up from the dead and force feed you lutefisk.
Perfect. We were able to get that into the chat as well. Thank you, Rebecca, for throwing that in there. Terry, phenomenal job. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Y'all take care.
All right. Thank you. I think that was it on the questions. We're going to be looking at changing it over to Matt. If we wanted to take a 5-minute break, we're kind of running out of time, but let's take a quick 2-3 minute break. Use the restrooms if needed, grab a cup of Joe. We're going to get Matt set up and get him started. Matt, if you wanted to maybe throw up your PowerPoint to make sure we have that. Okay, great. Thanks, Matt. We're just going to give it a minute or two. There's going to be some silence. Oh. All right. Well, hopefully everybody was able to run real quick to the restroom and run and grab a cup of Joe and make it back. I know that was a very quick 2-3 minute break. But we want to stick to the schedule to make sure that everybody gets done by the 4 o'clock time. We have Mw3 with the labor market information for employers. Matt does a phenomenal job with this information. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of information, and Matt breaks it down for you, shows you what's available, and it doesn't seem too overcoming for somebody new to it. And he does a great job presenting on how to help, use the Department of Labor and Industries Research and Analysis page. So Matt Betcher is the manager of the Bureau of Labor Statistics Unit at the Department of Labor and Industries Research and Analysis Bureau. That's a big one. He has worked as the economist for the BLS labor market programs in Montana and is happy to apply the knowledge toward helping businesses and individuals capture the benefits and opportunities provided through the labor market information. Matt, thank you so much for helping out with the ABC clinics. We're happy to have you. Without further ado, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Tanner. Everyone can hear me all right?
Yes, yep, you sound great, yep.
Okay, good. I was testing out a new headset. But yeah, as Tanner said, I manage the Bureau of Labor Statistics programs for Montana, and kind of how we fit into this piece of the puzzle is we manage these programs for Montana for the Bureau of Labor Statistics, all do other states, and the data we produce is used up the line by federal government and things that people at that level. But also what we really have value on is local information, and one use of that is through the job service or local businesses themselves, just to get a better understanding of the economy or the local job market or anything they're interested about in their local area. So let me get to my presentation. Okay, so first let's just start off with what is labor market information. Labor market information is any information, data, or analysis related to the labor force and/or workforce. You'll see workforce information used synonymously with labor market information, or LMI. Basically, it's a pretty encompassing definition. Anything you can think of that's related to your local job market can fall into this category, as well as anything about the local economy itself. So in this presentation, we'll just go through a couple examples of what labor market information is, how you can find it, how we get this information, and the part that we rely on you business owners for. And then we'll just go out to our website and I'll show you some tools we have that you can easily come out here and look at local information for where you live or where your business is located. And I'll just show you some examples that I think are interesting, maybe generate some questions, or at least down the line, you can always call our office or work with your local job service. I know those people know a lot about this stuff and can help you get what you need. So with that, here's just a couple random facts or LMI that I grabbed from our website. Is seasonally adjusted unemployment rate in Montana is 5.3% in September, just lower than the US rate of 7.9%. The average wage for a licensed practical nurse in Western region of Montana is estimated at $19.96 an hour, lower than the statewide average of $21.50 an hour. And this is an example. This is something we could look at, may suggest there's a higher supply of LPNs in this region specific to Montana as a whole. And within this data, we can also see projected growth for this occupation in Montana is 213 total openings per year through the year 2028. The last one is something that's been getting a lot of attention, is our unemployment declined by 18,000 jobs over the month with the onset of COVID, which is by far the largest over the month change we have ever seen. But there's actually a reason for it. And so made it far easier to explain to people. Okay, and so this presentation is why is LMI valuable, or why should you care about it? So labor market information is an extremely useful tool and provides useful, relevant data. A couple examples that I think are most relevant are the occupational wage rates used for pay setting or recruiting employees. Our projections data is like that LPN example I just gave, which will show, are these occupations going to be around in 10 years? How many are they? How many are we demanding? And we have a component where you can see how many of these qualified people are supplied in Montana. Local area profiles, I'll go to this on the website, is just kind of a place where you can see everything from the number of people employed, the average wage, the unemployment rate, the number of unemployment insurance claims by your local area, all in one place. Average employment and wages by industry, current local economic conditions, that's something else. We'll go out to the website and I'll really give you some better examples that are, I think, easier to understand when you can see them. Okay, so we have all this information. Where the heck do we get it? And so as some of you know, predominantly we get this information through surveys. And so we'll say, well, each of the much of the detailed LMI actually comes from the states. Each state has an LMI unit that is contracted by the Bureau of Labor Statistics to collect, analyze, and report LMI data. Oftentimes, these LMI data are then aggregated to produce national LMI data. That is what we do here. So that is us, the LMI unit in Montana, resides in the Bureau of Research and Analysis, which is part of the Montana Department of Labor and Industries Workforce Services Division. How do we get the data? As I said, we collect data from thousands of surveys sent to Montana employers and from other valid resources. The BLS sends out surveys to households and businesses across the United States to collect data and then provide state-specific information to the labor market information unit in each state. So that's just kind of where we fit in the piece of the puzzle. We send out surveys to businesses, but most of that is done contractually, where we're not the ones actually doing that. We're more in the business of compiling and analyzing that data. Okay, and so now this is the part we get to that I really can't strive enough, that everything we do here is really based upon the time and effort that people like yourselves have to report this data. And I can't stress enough how much we appreciate that. And the number of people and entities that rely on it, I could never list. But we really, really do appreciate the time and effort you guys take out of your own personal lives to get us this data. Like I said, a lot of this stuff is federally mandated that you're required to report it. I mean, and regardless of all that, we really do appreciate it. I'll get to an example of a form. One thing I will say here, though, is if you ever have questions about reporting the data from, is this form real? My numbers don't add up for wages over the month, anything like that, you can always get a hold of us and we're more than happy to help. I mean, we appreciate you guys doing it, and we'll do whatever we can to make that burden as little as we can for you to get us the data. Okay, so this is an example of the form that I was talking about. Like I said, if you ever have questions or don't know if something's real, or just we can make it easier, please don't hesitate to contact us. Okay, and so where can we go see all of this wonderful data? This is just a screenshot of our website where we're going to go out there next. I'll just share my screen there and poke around there and show you a few things. Here's just a few highlights of, again, things we'll look at I really think are valuable to employers. is the occupational employment statistics, which will actually show you wage rates by occupation in Montana and regions within Montana. And then paired off of that is these projections that will show you over time the estimates for jobs demanded, as well as employees lost to retirement within occupations and industries for regions in Montana. Okay. Here's another example of that occupational employment statistics data where you can see procurement clerks statewide. There's 190 employed. I guess I don't know if you guys can see my cursor, and with a mean hourly wage of $18.03. Anyways, that's just one example of all the types of information we have in that data set. So here is just questions, and I'm kind of rushing through this. I want to get to our website and really show you what we have to offer. But yeah, if you ever need to get a hold of us, this 444-4100, you can always email me personally at mvetcher@mt.gov. Okay, so let me stop share. And now I want to share. Oh, where these don't really look right. Not that. Sorry, I don't know why. Oops, let me. No, there we go. Sorry about that. Okay, can everyone see my screen with the graph on it?
Yeah, yep, we're seeing that.
Okay. Let me just go to, so this is our homepage at lmi.mt.gov. And so the first thing I want to show you here is, I mean, on our front page, there's just some highlighted things that are updated monthly, but we'll go to just in this first header, this local area profiles. Sometimes it takes a minute to load, or hopefully not that long. Okay, and so I'll just change this to Gallatin since we're in Bozeman. Okay, so now you can see it just updated all those tables, and everything is in one place here with just our labor force statistics for Gallatin County, the annual unemployment rate, our employment by industry. These would be your industry codes, and you can see the number of businesses, the number employed, the average wage by industry. We can also see on the graph that same information, and you can highlight the dots and see what the industry is, the number of people and their average wage, as well as the number of establishments. Some other examples on here are total wages, average annual wages, alternative measures of income. This looks at actual household income for the area. The top private employers for Gallatin County, total population and the distribution of ages within. And so like I said, this is just all of this data you can look at here and say, oh, I'm really interested in annual average wages. And so we see this source as quarterly census of employment and wages. So then you could come back to our main page, come all the way down here to the data search. And so you can look up any of those data sets we just looked at. If say we just wanted the actual raw data, where we'll look at employment, we can put in here. we can choose all the variables we want to look at the number of people employed in Gallatin County for a certain year or quarter by only private businesses or only private construction businesses. And this one seems to be taking longer to load, but really anything you want to really drill down and then download the data in different formats, this is the place to do it. I probably shouldn't have selected the largest one. But yeah, so there's just an example of what we can see is second quarter, all industries, local government. This is for Montana, but you can change all these options to really get what you want. Here, well, before I'm out of time, let me show you something new, somewhat new that we've added that I think has been really popular. People seem to like, and this kind of came about with COVID and just the explosion in unemployment insurance claims, and really using that as our most up-to-date, because it's updated weekly data set that we had to track the current state of the economy. So if you click just on that job tracking link from our main page, and again, this is a lot to take in at once, but I really encourage you just to come out here and poke around where. So again, let's look at Gallatin. And so here, if we're looking at new initial unemployment insurance claims, we see the huge spike right when we expected, and then how it's fallen off. More telling in this case, maybe if we look at, see, and let's just click Gallatin, where we can highlight and see some descriptive statistics for each county. And this graph will really show where, let me get Gallatin up here also. And so we see, okay, initially claims in that March 14th, the week of March 14th, when it jumped up like we've never seen, makes sense. And when we look at this, we can see that this is total people filing claims. So that was a lot slower to fall off where these people, the initial claims went in. This would be the time, the weeks it take them for come off unemployment insurance. And so while we're looking at that, we can go a lot further into type of claim, where we're just looking at continued claims versus the initial claims versus the pandemic unemployment assistance claims, which is people that weren't covered before. And so I hope no one finds this as interesting as I do right now, but if you are, this is the place to come and look. Something you guys might find more interesting, let's look at. That's total unemployment insurance benefits we pay out by type. But let's get to industry. And so if you're really interested in your business, what industry you're in, we're looking at leisure activities here, where we look at claims, obviously way more than a normal year. If we look at businesses with claimants as a share of establishments, so if we're in leisure activities, boy, 27% of the establishments have employees with claims for the last week of October, which again, that's high. And again, all sorts of variables to play with, but that's something that's somewhat new. And I feel as business owners, you may find that interesting just to see how you compare to people in your area and industry. I heard Terry talking about the MWorks data, and feel free, Tanner, if I'm going over my time and you got to cut me off, just
You're good.
get the hook.
No, you're good. Thanks.
Okay. This is something though that, like I said, we've added. So this is that same data she was talking about, compiled just in somewhere that's easy to see. And so we can look at top 20 occupations on there by number. We can always also sort these by area. Again, let's come back to Gallatin County, see the types of jobs that are available. And so you'll see this is updated every Monday. So it's relevant. It's the most up-to-date thing we have. I was sorting these by hourly. Yeah, and so we want to see, if you want to look at a specific occupation, see how it's changed over time, this is your place to go. Let's, again, more data that you can look at comparisons over time. Here's our total employment levels by industry. And so again, if you have an industry you're really interested in, you might want to come out here and look at it. Let's look at mining, and just to get a better example of how it's fared over time. This comparative performance, something we've put on there just to show where we're at as of today, February to September. We're still 12,000 jobs lower than we were then, which comparative, that's the 7th. I don't know how to say it, highest, lowest, best rank among states, meaning that we seem to be at least on pace, if not ahead, with some recovery as far as jobs compared to other states. I don't know how to interpret that so much, but it's just a statistic. With that, I don't want to overwhelm you with just more things on our website. Those were kind of the highlights I wanted to touch on. Like I said, I can't stress enough how much we really do appreciate the data that you submit to us. I understand it can be a burden in surveys, and believe me and my staff, I think the job service also will do whatever we can to help you get us that information. If you ever have questions, please, even if you have to relay it to us through the job service, if you get to me, I will get you to like the people that not only work on these programs and can help you with whatever you need, they're also the experts in what this data is, what it represents, and how it can be used at the local area. So like I said, don't ever be afraid to call us and say, I don't understand this. I don't know what this form is. We're here to help you as well as collect this data. And so with that, I mean, I'll open it up to any questions or specific things anyone would like to see on here.
Great, thanks, Matt. It doesn't look like we have any questions coming in. We'll get to it in just a second. I think that's, any data is phenomenal, and to be able to research it and see it, a lot of communities like to look at that and see what, you know, the wages or what is being paid, because a lot of times sometimes it's hard finding a good candidate, a good worker, a good employee, and paying them right. We've all seen some pretty high skyrocket home prices going, and so to have a good competitive wage, it's nice to go to and research something and to look at it to make sure you're in the ballpark. And even if you have current employees, say they may not have the skills at that time, but you want to advance them. We got an apprenticeship coming up here soon to be able to talk a little bit about what they can do and what they can offer. We do have some other training grant programs that could upskill some individuals where the state helps pay for it. So there's a lot of great opportunities. Matt, I can't thank you enough to be able to provide this. I know you could spend all day going over what you guys do and what you see and how do you get to help employers and businesses. For 15 minutes, it's pretty tough, but you did a great job. I appreciate your help. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Tanner. No, and the last thing I'll say is, like Tanner said, I mean, you guys live in these areas. I honestly feel you know everything I'm showing you, maybe not in a data sense, but I mean, you live it. And if you have something like you're talking about grants that you're trying to do, and you say, hey, we can't find anyone to fill this job, you can reach out to us, and sometimes we can help you verbalize that with data to show that, no, you're right, you can't, and this is what you need to help get this grant to alleviate that problem. That if you know you have a problem and you may not know the specifics or data to validate that, please, we can help you with that also.
Yeah, that's a great point. I didn't even think of that. Cool. Matt, thank you so much. Great information. Hopefully everybody got their contact information, his contact information down. His email again was mbetcher, that's BETCHER @mt.gov. I didn't memorize your phone number, but I if you want to give that real quick too, Matt, that'd be great.
Yeah, it's 406-444-3476, which can be intermittent. That's my office. So you can also call me at 406-546-9387.
Perfect. Thanks again, Matt. We appreciate
no problem.
it. All right. We have one more topic to go. We have the child support enforcement and new hire reporting with Sean Rafferty and Jackie White. This is going to have a recording, a PowerPoint recording. So there is some spots where it does pause, and it may not seem like somebody's speaking. It's just showing some slides. I'll be controlling and kind of going through those, just to click through them to show you those slides. If there's questions, please enter into the chat and we'll get to them at the end, so we don't have to stop the recording. And this, as the facilitator, this is my part where I get to pull it up, share my screen, and get to be where all of these presenters have different screens and try to get it to work. And I'm always sitting there trying to tell them what to do. So Sean, Jackie, anybody as in the panelist stage, if you're not seeing something or if it's not working right, let me know. Bear with me. Give me 2 seconds.
Thank you for joining us today. My name is Sean Rapp.
Okay, what screen are we seeing?
Tanner, we see the screen, the presenter view.
Okay.
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay.
Perfect.
Sounds good. And Rebecca, since I don't really get control, since it's sharing my screen, if there's any chats or anything, I'm gonna kind of rely on you until this is over, if something comes up in the chat box. But we'll get this started, and thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. My name is Sean Rafferty, and I am your liaison for Child Support Service Division and the New Hire Program. I am joined here today with Jackie White, one of our dedicated.
And then we're gonna...
I get one away. Sorry. Did it go away?
Yeah, Tanner, it did stop talking for a second. It went in and out for a few minutes or seconds.
Okay, that was probably mine.
Child support investigators. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Sean Rafferty, and I am your liaison for Child Support Service Division and the New Hire Program. I am joined here today with Jackie White, one of our dedicated child support investigators. We will play our slideshow, then open for discussion. Please feel free to download our presentation for quick reference. In short, our mission is to achieve and maintain financial and medical support of the children. We cannot efficiently manage the cases without you, the employers. At least 75% of all child support payments are collected through wage garnishments with your assistance. COVID-19 has really brought home to all the need for streamlining our processes. More electronic processes are necessary to avoid firsthand spread of any virus. This includes new hire reporting, getting away from the mailed-in reports, as well as getting away from paper check handling. We also have options for electronic orders. Child Support Services Division has several electronic options available to our employers. Please bookmark and utilize our website at childsupport.mt.gov. Let's continue to work together to provide the best experience possible for the families involved. We do need our employers' assistance. Today, we will briefly present information regarding new hire reporting, income withholding orders and payments, healthcare enrollment, reporting of lump sum payments like bonuses, vacation, cash outs, and severance pay, as well as terminated employee notifications. Again, our website is a great tool for employers. All new hires need to be reported regardless of age and whether temporary or permanent. Federal law states that new hires are to be reported within 20 days from the date of hire. The information we must have is employer FEIN, registered business name and address, and phone number. For the employee, we must have social security number, full name, mailing and physical address if different, and date of hire. Not required but helpful is home and work phone numbers as well as date of birth, insurance availability, and state of hire. Please only report valid social security numbers. Several methods of reporting are available. Preferred is electronically. ePass and our new hire reporting program works great if you only have a few hires to be reported. You can also fax your reports or send Excel spreadsheets and data files to our program using ePass and the file transfer service for secure email. Please see our website for further information. The next 5 slides do show the screens and the process for the online reporting program. We will not cover them here. Again, you can go to our website. You can see how easy it is. There is a demo. You can also print out our PowerPoint program just for quick reference. On this slide, it does just show some basic information for the file transfer service, data files, as well as Excel, and sending those securely. Slide 16 does give the information for our new hire technician, Gary Dahlquist, if you would like to contact him directly. IWO for child support is an order for deduction of payments from an obligated parent's income or contract proceeds. This order can be from a court or administratively ordered by the state or tribal agency. State and tribal agencies nationwide, district courts nationwide can issue income withholding orders. Garnishable income consists of wages, earnings, and remuneration for personal services with a maximum of 50% of disposable earnings. Contract proceeds and rental income can be garnished up to a maximum of 100%, and lump sum payments can be garnished up to 65%. The investigator can be contacted to verify the amount to withhold on lump sums. Withholding needs to begin with the first payroll after the receipt of the order or orders. Payments must be remitted within 7 days from the payroll in which they've been withheld. Payments must include employee name with remittance ID, leading zeros included, and amount. Payments can include multiple employees but must be broken down. Montana limits up to 50% of disposable income. Other states may have some different limits. Child support garnishments take priority over other types of garnishments. Employers may charge an employee $5 per month to offset extra costs incurred by employer to withhold child support. If there's an issue or error with remittances, please contact me, Sean Rafferty, at 406-444-6893. The next few slides do offer some information for electronic order options. Please do look through that and see if anything might be beneficial to you. If it does look like the electronic income withholding would be a great option for you, please look at the next few slides as they do contain some contact information for you for the federal child support agency to get you all set up. This next slide just reminds you of some regulations in regards to remitting the support payments, but it also has information to get in touch with our EFT specialist if you think electronic funds transfer might be a good option for your company. It also has information for making online payments via our website. Feel free to take a look. This slide, which is slide 33, does outline guidelines for both contractors and subcontractor garnishments. Orders to enroll national medical support may be issued to both a custodial and non-custodial parent and cannot exceed 5% of gross income. Employers must provide the healthcare coverage information to either parent as well as the Child Support Services Division. This slide covers employers' liability in regards to employees or prospective employees with child support obligations. Employers cannot discharge or refuse to hire someone due to them having a child support obligation. Employers must withhold child support from the employee's paycheck as per the order without exceeding 50% of disposable income. Employers must enroll the children on the order to enroll, regardless of the employee's enrollment status, unless the cost exceeds 5% of gross income. This must be communicated to the investigator of the case. There are legal charges and fines that can be levied for non-compliance. There are several ways to report lump sum payments and bonuses. You can report through the OCSE, which is the federal website, the EIWO system, email either the caseworker or employer liaison. If notification is through unsecured email, then provide employee name and participant ID number or case number. Do not report social security numbers on unsecured emails. And you can always give me a call, the employer liaison, at 406-444-6893. Notice of employee terminations can be given to the case investigator. You will find that information on the order through the OCSE employer portal or the employer liaison. Please be sure to provide last known address and phone number for the terminated employee. If the new employer is known, that information is always helpful. The next few slides include both legal references as well as great contact information. I do urge you to go ahead and print them. You can also find those contacts at our website, again, at www.childsupport.mt.gov. Thank you for your attention to our presentation. We do appreciate our employers. And now we will open the floor for discussion. Please do use the chat box. And if we can get a mic open for you, we certainly can. Jackie is also here to help answer any questions you might have.
All right, great. Perfect. Again, I would recommend everybody to go either to the ABC Clinic website that I posted earlier, and they have that information, the frequently asked questions, and some of that contact information is very valuable. So you could have that on their website, or if you go to the ABC Clinic, you'll be able to see that PowerPoint and get that information. Let's just run through and see if we have any questions for you, Sean or Jackie. So the slides, yes, you can get them on the ABC. Oh, looks like Rebecca had that. Thank you, Rebecca. And then, or the childsupport.mt.gov. That's the website, www.childsupport.mt.gov. You'll be able to get all that contact information there.
And Tanner, this is Sean.
Hey, Sean.
I wanted to point out that our website also has a lot of very useful information, such as the FAQs. You can certainly get the contact information in regards to, our EFT specialists, or my email, which is S as in Sean Rafferty, RAFFERTY, the number 2 @mt.gov. And I'm more than happy to help anyone. If I can't find the information that you're looking for, I can certainly find out who can. So do not hesitate to give me a call.
We appreciate that. Thanks, Sean. There was a question that did come in. Can you give any guidance when an employee has more than one support order? For example, if one is in Montana and one is in a larger, court-ordered state that comes in?
Well, certainly the easiest thing would be is if you have someone that does have multiple orders and one of them happens to be in the state of Montana, you can certainly give me a call. Basically, they all are treated equally. No state is over another. But it also depends on whether the child support is for current child support or is it for arrears. There are some differences in the way that is deducted and distributed. But again, you can always contact me either at my email address or my phone number, and I can certainly help you out.
Great, I appreciate that. Thanks, Sean. Jackie, did you want to follow up on any of that, or? No, that's all right. I think, yeah, even one of the responses that Jackie was able to put in was withholding can be split up to 50% of the employee's net wage between the two cases. So again, you mentioned, Sean, that it could be, withheld up to 50%. So maybe that 50% could be withheld between both of them. But yeah, I think it was, the more in-depth questions, you for sure reach out to Sean and or Jackie, and they'll be able to help you out.
Yep, and my contact information is on our website as well. And feel free to contact me with any of your questions.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Sean and Jackie, for what you guys do and the work you guys do for Montana. We appreciate it.
And thank you, Tanner. We appreciate the opportunity.
Great. Well, that is all we had for today. We had those 4 topics. Tomorrow, we're going to be starting at 2 o'clock, just like what we did today. We do have the UI combo tomorrow, UI insurance benefits with Margie, and then the unemployment contributions with Lisa. They are 2 big hot topics, especially with COVID going around. Just about every employer out there has probably seen somebody maybe pulling UI because of the tough COVID times. These are some good informational topics to be aware of and to ask questions on. You guys will have somebody front and center, and they could get those questions answered right away. I know it's been tough this last couple months with UI and getting some of the stuff answered. There've been just nonstop on phone calls and emails. So to have somebody live will be awesome. They're getting out of their really busy day of responding to people. So it's valuable to get them on and to help you guys out. Thank you so much to be able to participate today. We do these because of you and what you as a business owner or a business employee needs. And so we want to continue that. But thanks again. We'll catch up with you guys tomorrow. If there's more questions, I'll be on for a couple more minutes just to filter anything. Thanks again, all. Have a great rest of your evening.
Thanks, Tanner.
Oh yeah, you betcha. Thank you.
Good job, Tanner.
Thanks, Terry. Great job to you too. Oh, she just got off.